What's old is new, and what's new is cold. We're in the grips of the polar vortex as Arctic weather strong enough to make hurricanes in winter and old men cry blood has gripped the nation. We'll get into the vortex when we're damn good and ready, but what has us hot under the collar is this nagging notion of what's mine is yours. I don't have much, and I'm running out of patience with this politically convenient class warfare. Come warm your hands on my political fire, baby. This is The Independence. Hot. Hi there, I'm Kennedy, and it's very nice to have you on a cold night. We're going to warm you up with some hot talk. I've got with me my other Independence, Reason Magazine editor-in-chief, Matt Welch. Subscribe now. It's the best magazine on earth. Also, Camille Foster joins us from Freethink Media. You're going to want to see his men's line. It's going to be in stores very soon. At least it should be. And like I said, we're the Independents, and we're sexy and fun and available. Earlier today, I ventured outside the Fox mothership to let Mother Nature take a crack at my piñata. Baby, it's cold outside. Take a sneak peek.
Is it cold enough for you?
It's pretty cold. We're from San Diego, so this is pretty much painful.
San Diego! Yeah. Oh, this is not classy at all, is it?
No, it's not classy.
There's always time for Ron Burgundy. And there's more where that came from, my nippy little penguin. We'll dissect the vortex. But first, tonight on our party panel, we've invited back two of the best heads of hair in politics. She's all right with us, Jedediah Bila. She's a conservative columnist. And not to be left in the cold, get it? Yeah, because he's a lefty lefterson. Rich Benjamin, a senior fellow at Demos. All right, gentlemen and my lady. First up, let's tackle unemployment. President Obama is pushing Congress to extend unemployment benefits for more than 1 million Americans. He gave a passionate speech today about it. It felt like the summer of 2008 where women were throwing their panties at him, but they were really used Kleenexes. He even said that extending unemployment will create jobs. That's a fun fantasy. Matt, is that really true?
No,
it's wonderful.
The actual quote is, independent economists have shown that extending unemployment will help the economy and create jobs. It came
that sounds very important, by the way.
Super important. This came in the same era of time. We just had a National Bureau for Economic Research paper came out, a major economic study that looked at the effect of unemployment benefits during the recession and concluded that it had a mild effect on the recession by making it worse. When you disincentivize people, it's going to maybe further the unemployment cycle, which is consistent with most research that's been done on this. The thing that really pisses me off about this president is that he always does this. There's this sort of magical realism of the 5 million green jobs that we were supposed to get if we elected him in 2008, the 2 million jobs, we've already forgotten about those, that we're going to get from Obamacare, including 400,000 almost immediately, according to Nancy Pelosi. You could just spin any old number. Keith Ellison was on Twitter, the Democratic congressman from Minnesota today, saying that for every $1 that we spend on unemployment benefits, we're going to get $1.5 in economic activity. He's just making these
they're just going to fart him out at the
true.
unicorn factory. Rich, it sounds too good to be true.
Well, let's talk about too good to be true. Let's talk about magical realism. When conservatives are saying austerity and trickle-down economics are the solution to this problem, we know better. And what the president's talking about is the multiplier effect. Indeed, that if more people can have jobs, even if more people can have employment insurance, they'll spend this money on necessities, butter, eggs, milk, and it creates jobs, it creates consumers. What we need, bottom line, Kennedy, is people spending money. We need consumers.
Okay, but here's the problem with the multiplier effect, because often with the Obama administration, first of all, they cite independent economists whom they don't really name, and then with the magical multiplier, they use a metric that is impossible to apply, whether they're talking about Obamacare or unemployment insurance. And it, you know, like I said to Matt, it sounds really important, but it really is kind of a farce.
If all of the multiplier effects that have been promised would have taken place now, it'd be puppy dogs and rainbows. We'd all be rich right now.
No, they would be gilded puppy dogs and rainbows.
He's never gotten the stimulus or the recovery measures that he's asked for. He's always had to pare them down.
But what he has done,
but
what he has done hasn't worked.
It wasn't spent in the way he wanted. The incentives were not organized.
Okay.
That money
That's
was
what it
not.
was.
No multiplier when you don't spend it the way he wants. I understand.
Absolutely a multiplier effect. Here's the bottom line.
Even when you don't spend it the way he wants.
They keep saying the economy is good, is good, is good, and it is good. GDP is up, but it's only
Let's not change
for
the
the
subject.
Doug
Let's not change the
McMillans.
subject.
It's very much
Let's
the
stick with
subject.
Okay,
unemployment.
guys, not all at the
Let's stick
same
with
time.
unemployment.
Don't make me scold you, my children.
Unemployment benefits is about inequality.
It's about skinny blue ties.
Only some people are benefiting from this recovery, and the president and the
You know
left
why that is? Okay, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because of the
glad to
less
make you excited.
obsession with quantitative easing. That's why, because rich people are getting richer. The quantitative easing, snapping up all these bonds, that was supposed to help everyone, and then the banks are going to lend, and it never happened, and that's another example of magical thinking, and it is only widened the chasm of the classes. Jedediah Bila, I point to you because you are next.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't have to, if this was a real recovery, you wouldn't have to repeatedly keep extending unemployment benefits. You know why? Because a lot of these people would have jobs right now. So I think it's crazy that he's talking about this in terms of recovery. I also think it's crazy that when Republicans came forth and said, many of them said, okay, you know what? We can get on board with this. Let's just balance out this cost. Let's find a way to pay for this. Let's cut something else. Democrats still came back and said, no. Why not? That sounds perfectly reasonable to me. If Republicans are willing to give a little and say, okay, we're going to extend this, even though this isn't a fix to the problem, we want reform in the process because we don't want this to keep happening again, and we want to cover the cost. That sounds beyond reasonable to me.
And I hate to pile on. I hate to pile on, but I will. I am totally sick of the president's moralizing on this issue. The reality is that I am opposed to extending unemployment benefits indefinitely. That doesn't make me a heartless bastard.
But he does
All it
say it's a
suggests
moral
is that
argument.
it is simply not sustainable. When do we stop? 11 times since 2008, we have expanded or extended these unemployment benefits. You tell me, when do we stop doing this?
I'll tell you what, it's not simply moralizing.
When do we
not
stop
That's what
doing
the
it?
president
It's not
said.
just
So you won't answer the question.
It's just that. It is a moral obligation, but it's better business. And
Will
we
you
cannot
answer the
say this
question?
enough. It's not just a moral obligation. It is better
But it's not better business because if it were better business, then it would have led to positive results.
That's a question of degree. So far,
and
we're
by the
better
way-
off than we were 5 years ago. It's a question of degree. We're
All the
better off than we
people-
were
all the
5 years
people
ago,
who left
but
the
we're
labor
not
force
there.
would
I want to ask you a
disagree with
question. Why do we still have to call it a recovery if everything's so great? Recovery is something you do after surgery when you're woozy and sick and in a lot of pain and you're surrounded by nurses.
It's like a hangover, right, Kennedy? That's like a recovery. But
No, that's what I'm going to have tomorrow morning because I'm partying with you tonight, Richard.
All right,
And I'm
all
also
right.
bringing
That's
you
a
back.
recovery.
Stay here because we've got a lot more to discuss. On Twitter, earlier we asked, what would you say to the polar vortex? Oh, my garden. At Crusader Maximus responded, wish the polar vortex hit D.C. and froze spending. Yeah, you and I both agree on that, Maximus. Send your tweets to @IndependenceFBN. And if we're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy, then Dennis Rodman might live forever. The worm is back in North Korea, and he's taking it up the Pyongyang. Keep it here.